Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. Joins us on Fridays. We're off tomorrow. Good enough to move up a day to Thursdays. Preston, thank you, sir. How are you?
Hey, Hunt, thanks for fixing me in on a rare Thursday appearance.
Rare Thursday appearance. I mean, I used to go on Moscona's show every Friday in a previous life, and like, just good. Friday's always got good vibes. I'm not saying that Thursday's a bad day, but this feels like a Friday, so you ought to feel good.
I'm your vibe guy, is what you're saying.
That's exactly right. I know when I'm talking to you, I'm almost done with work, so that's a good thing. All right, you were in Tiger Stadium on Saturday. I'll leave it open-ended for you, and then we'll dive in with whatever it is that piques your interest. But what'd you see?
Open-ended, man. Isn't it sad that they didn't give these fans at least a semblance of a scrimmage? I'm one of the probably handful of spring football lovers out there, and you're a football team. Your job is to entertain. Go entertain. So while there's probably a lot of people who say they don't care, do what you think helps make the team win the best. I don't think that doing a practice versus a more of a show style scrimmage is going to result in losing a game or not next season. So that's probably my biggest takeaway is, gosh darn. In fact, I asked Coach Kelly in the post-practice presser. I asked him about if he'd be open to scrimmaging against another team as a spring game, and he basically, as close to a direct answer as you're going to get out of him on something. Yes, he would prefer that. So that's my biggest takeaway. But we'll go into the actual field of things. Those edge rushers are big, mean, and nasty, and I don't know that this offensive line is up to the task yet of blocking anybody as good as LSU's defensive end.
I agree. It was one of my biggest takeaways from the day, and I actually thought the defense as a whole played pretty well. I thought they were pretty good in the red zone unless Jawan Johnson had the ball. And so I thought that was an encouraging thing. I mean, obviously every play, if one team does something really good, the other team had something bad happen to them. But I thought on the whole, the defense won the day, and I'm quite frankly okay with that based on what we've watched the last 2 years.
I believe it's probably been since 2018 that you're looking at these practices and the defense had the upper hand. Now, I'm not going to say that the defense has never been on par, but they clearly have the upper hand. And the last time I remember that would be 2018 when Joe Burrow was coming in and, frankly, not learning the offense in 30 days. That's basically what happened with Joe Burrow. And then before that, I don't know if you remember the spring game of 2018, but it was basically the biggest crap show and the biggest fan freak out I remember in recent memories, as people thought Justin McMillan was about to be the starting quarterback based on what they saw.
Let's talk about Jawan Johnson. They showed a lot of him in the red zone. Brian Kelly talked about turning the cameras off before that. What'd you think?
I think the combination of LSU's red zone woes both last year and what we saw during this spring and the talent skill set that Jawan Johnson brings, I think he's earned himself a short yardage package. I mean, he's a full-bodied runner out there. He will lower a shoulder and run you over. He's also dynamic and he's got speed. And like Brian Kelly said, in these short yardage situations, he'll be able to throw the ball well enough in these short yards. It's usually a simple situation of, hey, look, they're going to be running man cover zero coverage. If that guy's open, throw it to him. If not, tuck it and run it. It's not like a complex full wide receiver tree he has to memorize. So I definitely think he's earned a spot situationally. And look, a situational red zone short yardage quarterback can certainly make a huge deal in your offense in terms of actually moving the change after your offense has been pretty good. You get 3 first downs and you get stopped on 3rd and 1, drive over. Well, all of a sudden this guy can really change the outlook of your entire game based on that. But then you have to wonder, is Jawan Johnson too talented to be used as basically a 2006 Tim Tebow?
And that's kind of what it looks like he is at this point right now. Speaking of usage, how much is Harlem Berry going to get in the fall?
A lot. And Brian Kelly addressed that in the post-practice presser. Whether he starts or not, that's not as big a deal. It's whether you're in the rotating lineup of playing. Now, I'll be interested to see who gets the second snaps. I'm fairly certain it'll be Caden Durham who gets your first snaps. In terms of being a complete back, blocking, being able to break a tackle, all that jazz, I would be shocked if Caden Durham's not your most complete player. But Harlem Berry looks sharp in a lot of ways. By the way, in the back end portion of practice where tackling was allowed, Caleb Jackson also looked sharp, by the way. He looked like a bruiser out there.
Yeah.
So it'll be a nice question to see who gets that second rep. Will it be Harlem Berry? Will it be Caleb Jackson? Personally, I think Harlem Berry at times looks like your best back. I think he's definitely your best receiver. Now, Harlem Berry is not as fast as Caden Durham. At least I don't think he is in terms of track speed. But Harlem Berry looks – he might be better at acceleration than he might get to top speed a little quicker than Caden Durham because he glides very well. He's very nimble, very smooth, and can make a lot of plays happen for you. Look, I think it'll probably – I will predict that might be one of LSU's, Dan's biggest early frustrations is how long it takes to get him on the field because I think he's going to continue to flash excellence. But it takes a while to earn trust and to frankly learn the offense and break in, as we saw with Caden Durham last year.
Yeah, I'm with you on Berry gliding. When you watch him and kind of cut through, and Brian Kelly talked about his natural running of the football, as he termed it. He's a joy to watch when he gets out in some space. Seems like, roundly speaking, that safety is among the biggest question marks when you talk to people about the team. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it probably is. Tamarcus Cooley makes you feel a lot better. And even guys like Taviano played a lot better. Maybe not so much in coverage skills. We've seen him struggle on one-on-ones throughout the spring. But, I mean, he was all over the place making tackles in the game. So that's certainly encouraging from that standpoint. I wouldn't be surprised if they look into a player for this portal here. They might not, but if they did, they'd probably look for a safety. Overall, the biggest we talked about ends being the biggest standout to me was how returning players got first priority all spring for all the returning positions, right? And that is just consistently across the field, man. Offensive line, defense, everywhere. They really leaned heavily on their returning players rather than the transfer guys. So I would look and see if in fall camp, I think they have enough bodies at corner probably to even spare. Do one of those corners slide over and take reps at safety? Because they certainly have guys capable. I mean, have you seen Mansour Delane's film? That guy will lower a shoulder and tackle you. So could he play safety? Absolutely, he could play safety. But I'm just thinking which one of them. I think one of them will have to do it and have to do it play well if they don't add a safety.
Last one here. You have any Michael Van Buren thoughts? We saw a good bit of him on Saturday.
Yeah, he has flashes where you see that arm, man. He's got a rifle. But there's just other times where he'll sail a guy or he'll miss this here. I think a lot of what you see with that inconsistency, we're talking about a 5'11" quarterback, okay? When he has a clean pocket and he can stand up tall and, make his throw, he really does have a good rifle on him, and he's got an accurate ball. He can make some impressive throws. What I'm starting to notice is in situations where he has to improvise a little bit, look, his launch angle is not great. I mean, he has to throw over guys, which just inherently throws off his throw quite a bit. I think there's a reason why. It seemed like there was a trend maybe 5 years ago, like, oh, yeah, short guys can play in the NFL, and we're starting to see that really dial back now. And we're really starting to see, I see why most quarterbacks are 6'2" or higher, because it's easy to impact their throw. And I think that's a bit of what we're seeing with Van Buren. That being said, hey, look, arm talent's undeniable. And he will probably get a chance to compete with Colin Hurley to be the starter next year. But mind you, in this day and age of the transfer portal, it's going to be Colin Hurley versus Michael Van Buren versus whoever is the top name in the portal that year.
Yeah.
Because I know 2026 LSU does not have a quarterback yet. They're recruiting some guys, but it's really that 2027 class for LSU. The names out there are just elite for 2027. So you got to find a bridge to get you there.
Yeah, and they're out there in the transfer portal every single year. Preston, we appreciate some time. Thanks so much, man. Have a great weekend.
All right, talk to you soon.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. All your LSU football coverage, all your recruiting. Preston and the team over there at TigerBait got you covered. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.